Can you please talk about how to effectively do market research? Is it simply different types of Google searches, etc.? Yeah. So I do have a temp. It's kind of hard for me to answer that in one question, but let me sit down and show you here on the screen. And I'll go through this here quickly. I apologize if you can't see it that well. And what this is this is actually from one of the many templates I provide my MBA students. This is just Excel, yeah. But you got to do qualitative, quantitative, and financial research. Okay, so there are a number of different steps here. You got to look at when you look at the competition, you have to look at the strengths and weaknesses of each competitor. You got to think of future competition as well. You have to understand production and distribution for all companies in the sector. What you can also do to understand corporate strategy for the company and risks is for all companies in a given sector, you can go to sec.gov and find out what the risks are for that company and for the sector in general. So a lot of times when you're doing research on a certain company or a certain sector, you have to look at the competition. So the way you do that is you go to a United States government website called the SEC.gov, which stands for Securities and Exchange Commission. And let's say that you're doing research on, I don't know, Facebook or a company similar to Facebook in the same industry. So you would type in the ticker here, Facebook, okay? And I teach you all this in my MBA program in a lot more detail. And then you want to look at the annual report, which is the 10K, or what's called the S1, which is the filing they used back in May of 2012 when they went public, but the first version was down here of their IPO documents. And I teach you guys how to go through this in a lot more detail in my MBA degree program, how an IPO works, etc. And when you read through this for all the companies in a given sector or given industry, you want to focus particular attention on the risk factors here to find out what all the risks are for the industry. Okay, and they also talk about the entire industry in a lot of details in these reports here. Okay, and these are created by investment bankers, and lawyers as well. So I would look at that closely. Another thing I would do as we look through here is you want to just all these items here. You want to analyze to death until you understand each company in the sector. And I've got a ton of frameworks here, like the Porter 5 Forces framework, SWOT analysis, Boston Consulting Group, a bunch of quantitative metrics, financial metrics, etc. So you can understand the total addressable market as well. Don't ever invest in a company or start a company that's in a tiny market. You want to make sure that the TAM, total addressable market here, is massive. Okay, it has to be huge. Otherwise, what happens is you end up owning a big piece of a small pie, so to speak. So hopefully that's helpful. But I have a number of different tools in my arsenal, so to speak, to help all my students be able to do research on any type of company. Yeah, and that framework I showed you is what a lot of Wall Street analysts use. It's like an initiation report when a Wall Street investor or analyst decides to research a company or a sector in a lot of detail. When you're done writing it, what comes out of this is a detailed report that's like 150 pages and also an executive summary version as well. And this is just dummy data here.